Hello, I'm Jashikins, and welcome to another episode of Jash Reads. Tonight, we'll be continuing Animorphs number 3, The Encounter by K.A. Applegate. It figures, Marco said thoughtfully. The Yeerks would have to have some kind of cloaking ability, like stealth technology, only much better. We are all in Cassie's barn. Her dad was away for the afternoon, and it's one of the few places where I can go and not look out of place. It's a regular old-fashioned barn, but with rows of clean cages and fluorescent lights. There are partitions keeping the birds away from the horses, and more partitions keeping the raccoons and opossums and the occasional coyote away from the skittish horses. The floor of the barn is usually strewn with hoses and buckets and scattered hay. There are charts on each cage showing the condition of the animal and what treatment it's getting. It's usually a pretty noisy place. What with various birds chirping or cooing, horses snuffling, and raccoons fussing with their food. I looked over a little nervously at a pair of wolves, one male, one female. One had been shot. The other had eaten poison left out by a farmer. Wolves were new in the area. Wildlife experts had brought some back to the nearby forest. Wolves make hawks a little edgy. We were always able to see Yeerk ships, Rachel pointed out. We saw the bug fighters and the blade ship. She was leaning against a cage that housed an injured mourning dove. The dove was watching me suspiciously. Yeah, but every Yeerk ship we've ever dealt with has been either on the ground or about to land, Jake said. Maybe the cloaking ability doesn't work when they get close to land. But if you think about it, Marco's right. They would have to be able to avoid being picked up by radar. Maybe they also have the ability to avoid being seen. It was a Yeerk ship, I said flatly. How can you be sure? Cassie asked. She was working as we talked, cleaning an empty cage with a brush and a bucket of sudsy water. It just was, I said stubbornly. I I just got this feeling from it. Also, it seemed huge, far bigger than even the biggest jet. This was huge. More like a real ship, like an ocean liner. The question is, what do we do about it? Jake asked. Of course, I knew he'd already made up his mind to do. Sorry. Of course, I knew he'd already made up his mind to do something. But Jake doesn't like to act like the one in charge, even though that's how I think of him. He lets everyone have their say first. I want to find out what it's doing, I said. The first time, I had the feeling it was heading away from the mountains. The second time, it was doing just the opposite. It was flying too low to make it over the mountains. So, I'm guessing it was doing something in the mountains. Rachel nodded. That makes sense. Marco rolled his eyes. The mountains? Have you suburb dwellers ever been to the mountains? We're talking about a large area. No matter how big this no matter how big this ship is, it could hide in 1,000 places in the mountains. Then we'd better start looking right away, Rachel said brightly. Jake looked at Cassie. Cass, what do you think? Cassie shrugged. I halfway feel like we've done enough, you know? We attacked the Yeerk pool. We barely got out alive. We infiltrated Chapman's house, and Rachel was captured again. We barely got out alive. I guess the question is, how many risks are we going to take? How many more times are we going to barely escape? I could see that Marco was surprised. Suddenly it sounded like Cassie was on his side. Exactly! Exactly! Just what I've been saying. Why is it our job to get killed? But then Cassie went and blew it all for him. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I can't just do nothing while people are enslaved by the Yeerks, Cassie said. Maybe it's just me. She shrugged. The thing is, I have these powers. She shrugged again. I can't just do nothing. Look, these aren't people we know, Marco argued. They aren't my friends or my family. He shot a guilty look at Jake. And we did everything we could for Tom, so why should I get killed for strangers? We can't stay lucky forever. Don't you people understand that? Sooner or later, we'll slip up. Sooner or later, we'll be standing around here crying because Jake or Rachel or Cassie or Tobias is gone. You know something? Rachel exploded. I'm tired of trying to talk you into this, Marco. You want out? Fine. You're out. Hey, Rachel, you're not just doing this to help save the human race, Marco yelled back. You get off on the danger. That's why you went with Tobias to free that bird. That wasn't about saving the world. That was about rescuing some stupid bird. Marco realized he'd gone too far. He fell silent. The others all looked guiltily at me. Rachel shot Marco a look of pure anger. As of right now, I said, as of today, only one of us has been hurt. Me. But I'm not going to give up. I'm not anyone's leader. But what I am going to do is go to the mountains tomorrow morning. What the rest of you do is your business. I'll be with you, Rachel said instantly. Cassie nodded. Jake made a wry smile. You say you're not a leader? But I'll go with you. Marco shook his head. No, he said. Your choice, Rachel said. Oh, that's not what I meant, Marco said angrily. I meant, no, not in the morning. Tomorrow's a school day, if all of us skip school on the same day and later there's some trouble with the Yeerks, don't you think Chapman might put 2 and 2 together? Jake raised an eyebrow. Mark was right. After school. He looked at the others and nodded. It bothered me that Mark was right. But he was. Marco might be a pain in the butt, but he's a very smart guy. It worried me a little. It made me wonder, was he right about other things as well? How many risks could we take before we lost? How long till the 5 of us were 4? Or 2? Or none? And that's a cheery end to the chapter. I'm sorry if, like, there was, like, something in my eye I'm going to look at when I finish this broadcast. Because, yeah, and Sarah's, like, near... it is starting, like, damn it. I really fucking like this chapter, and now my eye's like, well, we're going to ruin this for you. Okay. Yeah. So yes, some important things happen there. One of the things is that Marco is shown to be extremely, extremely reluctant. And I actually like that. It just shows that this isn't an easy decision to fight and save the world. That, it's like if all the Animorphs were A-okay with, fighting, like, okay, we're all going to do that, that's very noble, but a little unrealistic. Throughout this series, the majority of Animorphs go through a period where they're like, should I actually be fighting or not? And as of this point, at this point in the series, at book 3, Marco is really the very embodiment of that, of one version of doubt. One, as there's different variations, and it's just that it's realistic, because why be all on fighting because that's what's right, and fighting so that the people I love can stay living in a free world, and that I care about other people even though I don't know them. Not everyone's going to hold that ideal, and Marco doesn't. He has a very, personal reason for, really not wanting to die, because he's the only one keeping his father even a little bit sane. And, you can sort of understand why he's very reluctant to fight, because he doesn't want his father to, lose another member. Another important thing is also revolving around Marco. The fact that even though he's reluctant and, he can be very vocal on that point, he's also cares about the rest of the team too. Instead of just letting them make the poor decision to go to the mountains the next morning, he's like, you're being fucking morons, and here is why. Now, don't get yourselves all killed. And I mean, you joked in previous chapter that he was the same one, but this really proves that point. He is the fucking same one. What's a little scary. Now, I've been sort of debating bringing this next point up, but I'm going to just word it vaguely enough and make you all crap your pants as you actually worry over the course of the series. Tobias, Marco brings up the point that some of them might die, that, you can't fight a war with all of you coming out alive. And Tobias starts to question, is this actually going to happen if Marco's so insightful about some things? Is he insightful about this? And like any other young adult book series, you could just pass it off as going, yeah, they're just going to worry and they'll come out alive and fine at the end. But not all the Animorphs make it out alive. Not all the Animorphs survive the series. And the fact that this is brought up so early is just like, you'd probably just write it off like the first time reading through. But yeah, just that's very important. That's one of those lines, once you actually start to reread the series, you're like, holy fuck, they sort of warned us in the first couple books that, you know, this wasn't going to have a happy ending. I started tearing up, and as I said, minor spoilers, okay, and I think that does definitely toe the line, but I just could not help but talk about that part while talking about this chapter, because those lines were very indicative of what will happen. That Kay Applegate was a good enough author to treat, you know, her intended audience like adults. But yeah, it's so I'm not going to say you who or if there's more than one character in which book or books. So I'm just going to let you you know, shit your pants as you go through each battle scene going, oh my god, is this one of them, one of the scenes that one of the Animorphs is going to die? Because yeah, this point is brought up very early on. It's like, should, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm starting to get myself sad, you know, but I can't help, but at the same time, I can't help but talk about it because those lines just evoke so many feelings. I did my best on making it the most minor spoiler possible. Because I am saying something's going to happen, but not to who or how many people and not when. So I think but I'm sorry that those lines. And if you have any opinions on this chapter, please comment down below and let me know your opinions. Remember, keep minor spoilers, and as I said, the one or more Animorphs are going to die. That really toes the line, so yeah, just be aware that yeah, there's a line. There is a line, I swear. I'm never going to go full-blown spoilers on here, I promise. I'm never going to go full-blown. But if you do want to talk spoilers to me, there is a link to my Ask Box and Tumblr. Just be very aware. If you do ask a question that can be answered with spoilers, I will answer the question that way. If you do actually have a question that you want non-spoilers or minor spoilers, comment down below. So yeah. And if this reading for some reason has made you interested in the books and like, hey, I might enjoy this, you know, and you're like, I want to buy a copy myself, there is a link in the description to get your very own copy of Animorphs #3, The Encounter, that you will cherish and love. And all the Animorphs books I bought back in the day, and I still actually will go to thrift stores and usually with my mom, and to pass the time I'll see if there's any Animorphs books, so so yeah, I have all those in my room in like a little box. So yeah, I have my own copies that I love and cherish, and I only read them on my Kindle just because I don't want them to get destroyed. Because #6 is my favorite book in the series, and that's worn out. I don't want to accidentally break it. So yeah, so you know, buy a copy down below. And please subscribe please subscribe to my channel, like my video. I need attention. That is the only reason I blog. I mean, main reason. There's probably other reasons here and there. And with me tonight, I actually don't think I have names for these three. I might have forgotten. But that one, that little owl has a funny story to it. I accidentally left my wallet at a hotel, and when me and Rev Resner went to the mall, I forgot he let me use some of his money to buy that, but he didn't realize how much it cost. And he bought some other stuff, and I remained silent on the price just because I like seeing him happy. And I don't think you can really see clearly that guy over there, but that's a nice, cute little doggy. And yeah, and for my continuing health stuff, not ENT, I got a call back about my ultrasound results. I guess like a kidney stone or something got knotted. Neither me, my dad, or my fiance know what the fuck that means. I tried searching for a little bit on Google, so yeah. But and then I have an appointment next week, and I might have surgery, I might not. Hopefully it's outpatient so I can make it to Brian's birthday. Rev Resner's birthday. I keep on making that fucking slap. But anyways, here's the part of the episode where I drink a little bit of sake, and you can join in too. Grab your favorite alcohol or liquor or whatever the fuck's lying around, and if you do not drink for whatever reason, I'm drinking water here. There's also milk and other healthy drinks. So let's continue to hope for everyone's health. Let's sum everything up to that. And Westworld Season 2 will be starting soon. So here's hoping Westworld Season 2 is as good as the first season. I just watched the trailer for Westworld Season 2 today. Oh my god, I'm fucking excited! And again, if you haven't seen the show, you should. And if you want to watch the original movie, it's a good movie, but you don't need to watch that movie in order to get what's happening in the HBO series. But here. Nom nom nom. Okay, I'm just gonna. I have a bunch of shit happening. I want to make sure I'm saying the correct days and times and stuffs. Okay. Okay. So, oh my god, yeah, I'm just excited that it's near the end of the week. And I know I'm unemployed, so that really shouldn't mean anything to me, but all the phone calls I have to make and all this stuff, it usually happens during the week, so I sometimes have a busy week schedule and I sometimes yearning for the weekend. But anyways, the next episode of Jash Reads will be continuing Animorphs number 3, The Encounter by Kay Applegate, and it should air around 2 a.m. Monday. And it can be, not exactly at 2 a.m. Sometimes, it's later. I mean, tonight it was because I decided to have a little snack beforehand. I'm hungry. I'm not going to go on camera hungry because then I'll just get more hungry. So yeah, it will be at 2 a.m. on Monday. and it will be continuing Animorphs number 3, then countered by K Applegate. And if the schedule changes for whatever reason, I will be updating on my Twitter, and my Twitter's at Jash. So to make sure nothing's going to change, it's not going to be moved to a different day, check my Twitter at Jashikins. And until next video, goodbye.